Hi, I'm Celeste and welcome to Find Your Purple. Today is day 40 of my 40 days of reflection, and I thought it was apropos to end the 40 days with my mission. And what I mean by that is there was a class I was in my church, and it was a series of 3 classes called Catalyst. And the idea was to find out who you were and in the body of Christ and kind of move forward in your life with that. And I go to a non-denominational church, which basically is a Bible-driven church, but doesn't have an overlay of any particular denomination. But everything is based on the Bible, preached from the Bible, and focused on the Bible. So as a graduation process, we were to pick a life verse in the Bible, and we were to identify a mission. And a lot of people knew their mission. They've been thinking about it a long time. It was a struggle for me, and I'm still not positive I'm on the right page with it. But when I did pray about what my verse might be, the one that jumped out at me is Romans 10:14. And it says something like, how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? And how can they believe in him if they've never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? And so I thought, that's me. That's my job, is to point them in the right direction. Now, in the Bible, they talk about gifts in the church, gifts of services, things like an evangelist versus a pastor versus a teacher. And I never understood all of that before. And it's all about where the person fits within the church body. Not church as in a building, but a church as in all the believers and basically all the world. And I relate it to business. Since I was in business 20 years, now I'm in real estate. But I knew that when you're hiring people, I was in the human resource area for many of those years, people have different strengths. And I think if you look at some of the entrepreneurs, the famous entrepreneurs, some of them excelled in creating businesses. But where they had problems is maintaining the businesses. I think maybe it wasn't as exciting, but they had the creative juices that they could think outside the box. They could create things from scratch. Where other people excelled in motivating people and keeping things going, and are better in taking a company once it's been created and it's kind of over that first hump into the next stage of the business's life. And then you have the people who excelled in training. And I think that's in some of the services. You've got the evangelist, like a Billy Graham, who's out there preaching the gospel over and over to masses of people who had never heard about God before. So he was called to evangelism. Bring Jesus to the masses. But he wasn't called to pastorship, where there's another person sitting in a church and may or not be sitting in a structure, all that. They have a group of believers that they are to shepherd, help them deepen their faith, help them work with their faith, and help them continue on after they believe. So you have Billy Graham who brought them to Jesus, had them maybe do the altar call and they confessed themselves, but then he matched them up with local churches so that then someone could take that new believer and help them along the path. Then you also have the teachers who their role, and there's some people that are very good at that, is to teach about the Bible, to help people understand the Bible more. And then you have the administrative group who, as much as we might not want to face it, a church has a business aspect to it. With the structures and the trainings and all of that, there is money necessary to maintain it all, to maintain salaries, to maintain the church building itself, and everything that goes along with it. And some people excel at that. So God created it so that each of us have a piece of the puzzle that we can bring to the table that nobody else can. As he equates it to the body parts, that you have different body parts, but the eye is as important as the ears, and the heart and the liver, we all work together to make the body work. So again, my mission was, I felt, to tell people about reading the Bible, to point in that direction. Down the road, things might change. I don't know where it's going to be. I was focusing also on women over 60. And the reason I wanted to do that was because, one, I am a woman over 60. But I think at that point in your life, if I'm the norm or not, you start looking at the life behind you and how do you feel about what you've accomplished. Because no matter how I look at it, I have lived more life than I have yet to live. And I want to make sure the years I have left are meaningful years. And I think many women in their 60s who might have been like me, we went through, the feminist movement and the, a woman could do everything, cook up bacon in the pan and be a mom and all of that. And some of which we did well, some of which I think we missed the boat. But we lived through a lot of that. And then, like me, I went heavy into the New Age movement. And it's not until I hit 62 and I had deaths in the family that I kind of had to stand back and say, hey, Celeste, you're getting old. And that's the first time ever I felt old. But I was seeing people around me die that were my age. And I had to kind of evaluate, and only then, as God would have it, was I ready to start going to a church. Didn't intend to, didn't plan to, never dreamed I would become a born-again Christian, but that was God's plan for me. And I think there's other women in their 60s out there who might be feeling a little bit of that hole of what is my life about, and they might be more open to listening to stories about God. I wasn't open for 40 years to really people telling me about the necessity to read the Bible. I never read it till I was 60. I finished it when I was 63 for the very first time in my life. Didn't think it was necessary. Didn't think it was relevant. Didn't think much of Israel. Didn't see how Israel impacted me. Suddenly, all of this has become huge in my life. And I'm kind of wanting to point people in that direction. So my idea would be to get as many people interested and intrigued enough that they read the Bible for themselves. So that's why I've got a hashtag, Read the Bible Now. And I'm a pointer. Get them to read the Bible, because the Bible speaks. If you're not going to come across an evangelist in your life, if you're not going to come across a church, and even many people in the churches. In fact, they say a large percent of the people that are actively going to church and consider them a Christian have never read the Bible and really don't think it's necessary to their faith walk. And it's only until I read the Bible that I see how wrong that concept is. So that's it for the 40 days. And if you haven't read the Bible, check it out. It will open your eyes to an unbelievable life that changes how you look at the world, and hopefully will change how the world looks at you. So that's it for today. As always, grab your cup of tea, sit back, and let's start sharing. Until next time, bye-bye.